All right, let's talk about sex. Can't even put that in the title because Zuckerberg is probably going to give me a ban and put me in bad person daycare. The reason that I wanted to do this video is, I actually wanted to debate a coach a couple weeks ago that I had briefly looked into, who had said that what he tells his clients, I think he has some books and other stuff, is that you should lead your woman, you should lead your relationship in a way where you as the man can have sex with other women, but she can't have sex with other men. And the reason for that is because, I mean, this is absurd. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. The reason for that is because over time, eventually in a relationship, a woman's just not going to want to have sex much anymore and is going to start saying no all the time, especially once there's kids and all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's so many ways I could go here. Like, first of all, that's incredibly damaging to the woman, right? And like how that would affect a woman's self-worth, where her man is having sex with other women. And so it's not exclusive at all, right? So there is such a lack of devotion in that kind of dynamic. And of course, the women that I work with, obviously, I would teach them to never engage in that kind of dynamic ever. But more than that, it's also really, that kind of mindset is really showing a lack of dominance, right? Because even though there is some level of dominance to actually convince a woman to go along with such a unbalanced and harmful dynamic, but it's really showing that such a man, any kind of man that has that mindset, doesn't understand women, doesn't understand his own dominance, and doesn't know how to truly lead, right? And I agree 100% that what most men eventually experience in their relationship, sooner or later, is a dynamic where they are not having as much sex as he would want to, right? Pretty much all of the clients that I've worked with, almost all of them, I'd say like 90%, if they're in a relationship, are having sex with their woman, like when they started working with me, and this is for enrollment calls and everything, once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month, less than once a month, or not at all, right? So that's the majority of the male clients that come to me asking for help. And the thing is that when a man really, there's 2 parts to this. First of all, when a man really steps into his dominance, right, he is going to really polarize the relationship and bring so much attraction back to the relationship that a woman is going to be far more sexually interested in him again, right? And so that's going to solve a lot of problems. But the other part of this is that what men need to understand is, and what women need to understand too, men need to understand that it's their job, it's your job as a man to lead your woman to understand that it's not okay to say no to sex. Now, that's going to sound really triggering to a lot of women. I get that, but just bear with me for a moment. In a truly devotional relationship, right? A truly devotional relationship, a woman would never have the need to tell a man no, right? Because of 2 things. First of all, she respects him and cares about him so much that she knows that sex is going to be a really important need for him. So even if she's not totally in the mood sometimes, she's going to know that she's going to enjoy it anyway, that he's going to get her in the mood, and that they're going to have a good time. And also that, it is such an important need for a man, and that it will be received as disrespect for a man when she tells him no. But second part of this is that a man who's devotional, if a woman was just truly honest with how she's feeling and with what the problem is, right? Like let's say she's on her period or something. It's like day 2 and it's really painful and she's cramping and everything. If she's not energetically setting a boundary, right? She's not saying no. She's just saying, oh, like I'm having really bad cramps right now. What kind of devotional man would be like, oh, well, we're gonna have sex anyway. Too bad for you. I need to get off. Right? That's not going to happen in a devotional relationship. So in that dynamic, all a woman would ever have to do is express what she is currently experiencing, either emotionally or physically. And a devotional man is going to make, a decision considering her needs and considering her feelings and considering her experience. But otherwise, a man is just going to lead towards sex, and a woman is going to, like a woman who is truly submissive and feminine is going to submit to that because she cares about her man, right? And in a reverse situation, like if I were to think about anything that my wife truly needed, for example, because I'm devotional to my wife, would I ever deny anything that my wife really truly needed and was important to her? No, because I care about her and I'm always considering her needs. And so going back to, so let's go back to this leading thing. In a healthy relationship, a woman is never going to be saying no to sex, right? She's just not. And I've had clients, and I have like a couple in the Academy program right now, where men were just, in such a depolarized relationship, and their woman was just saying no over and over and over again to having sex. And what is a dominant man's job in that situation, right? It's actually to lead her, to make it clear that that's not okay, right? It's not okay, because what a man needs to be doing is leading the relationship towards both man and woman meeting each other's needs all the time, creating a dynamic where the woman is not resisting, she's not saying no, she's trusting him to make the decision, right? Trusting him to make the decision in her best interest and in the relationship's best interest. And most relationships are so depolarized and are such disasters that men are, both partners are not having sex very much at all. And the woman is often saying no to sex, right? And usually the woman, but often both partners are losing a lot of interest in sex anyway, because the woman's not respecting the man because he's not being dominant. He's not actually leading. He's not leading her into her feminine energy. He's not leading to make it clear that denying each other's needs is unacceptable. This is something that I'm really passionate about, the whole needs thing, right? Because I used to be a selfish butthead for most of my marriage, and I really hurt my wife in a lot of ways by not understanding that a healthy relationship is all about, taking each other's needs really seriously, right? Taking each other's needs really, really seriously. And so I would say no to things all the time and just not really, well, I mean, a man should say no to a lot of things, but I would say no to things that I really shouldn't have said no to, just because I was being selfish and not considering her, right? So if it's the woman that is in that situation where she is really being selfish and really just thinking about, oh, I'm just kind of feeling tired tonight, right? So what if you're feeling tired? I know that might sound harsh and that might sound really triggering to a lot of women, but in a devotional man's mind, Okay, is he going to make an excuse when he feels tired, like, you know what, I'm just going to stop working and like not providing for the family, not protecting the family, not holding space for your feelings, all that kind of stuff because I'm feeling tired? No, because he's passionate about meeting all of his woman's needs and caring for her and cherishing her. And if the woman is in that position of being more, we'll say selfish, right? Then it's his, like, what he needs to be doing as a man is to start leading her to stop being selfish, right? And there can be many reasons that she's selfish, right? Part of it is she's just not very horny anymore because the relationship is depolarized. She's not really respecting him. But if that's the case, well, one good way to start being respected, and again, as a man, is to start setting these expectations and make it clear of how this relationship is going to work. And I'm not talking about domineering and forcing sex on a woman or anything like that. So if anyone's thinking about that, no, absolutely not. It's about just being really strong in what your expectations are, and make it clear, like, hey, this is a relationship where we're going to be devotional to each other, where we're going to meet all of each other's needs, and we're not going to be selfish. I'm not going to be selfish when it comes to taking care of your needs, and you're not going to be selfish with taking care of my needs, right? And I had another point about this. Now I forgot what it was. This Yeah, so leading her out of being selfish. One of the other reasons that a woman might be in this situation is because she's built up a whole bunch of resentment over time, right? Because maybe the man has been really lazy and eating potato chips on the couch all day instead of taking charge as the man, and you know, leading her into her feelings and easing her burden. She has to do all this work all the time, organizing and planning and all this crap, and she now just resents him and isn't really interested in sex anymore. Well, I mean, if that's the case, and a man wakes up to that, right? Well, he's a lot of work to do to repolarize things, to lead a woman out of her resentment and back into her heart, and to realize that, listen, we need to bring back the sex into our relationship. So all of this is possible. So many men are going to just totally, it's really sad. Like, a big part of this is that men just don't have the mindset of, like, it is your rightful place as the man to be leading everything and setting all the expectations in the relationship. And then second of all, they're not going to have the communication tools, the leadership tools to actually lead a woman to have this understanding and to start respecting him again and to want to have sex with him and never say no, and always be willing to submit to his leadership, and in the bedroom and outside of the bedroom, right? And so what are they going to do? Most men are just going to suck it up and masturbate a lot, right? And think that that's normal, right? Think that that's normal to be having sex once a week or a couple times a month or once a month. Oh, well, I've been in a relationship for 5 years and that's kind of just what happened. It's normal because that's how most relationships are, which is true and really sad. But it doesn't have to be that way. It only has to be that way if you choose to not learn how to figure this stuff out. If you choose to not step into your dominance, if you choose to not learn how to be competent at leading your woman. You want to have all the sex with your woman that you want? Okay, then do something about it. Listen, start by going to relationshipofyourdreams.com and getting a lifetime membership with us. You know, we got an 8-hour course that's going to really go into a lot of this mindset, not just about sex, but leading in general. And this is for men and women, but for the part about men, learning how to actually lead and how to communicate and how to open up a woman and make her receptive to your leadership, right? And get her into her feelings. If she's got any resentment, get her into letting go of all of that resentment. Get her into a place where she, you know, feels good about submitting to your leadership, sexually and otherwise. Because again, it's not about subjugation, right? It's not about controlling her, because she's not going to feel good about that, and that's just going to build up a whole bunch more resentment. So it's about you know, leading in that loving centered place where it is fully energetically her choice to submit to you because you've shown her the truth of her behavior and what she's doing. And she realizes that you're right, and over this time period she's becoming more and more attracted to you as well. You can have all of that if you want, right? I don't want to ever hear these excuses from men, right, and these complaints from men, because it doesn't have to be your reality, right? It really doesn't. It is 100% your choice. You are creating this. Every time you masturbate to porn in your relationship, that's your responsibility. You've created that. Like, of course, it's a co-creation and your woman is co-creating it too. But listen, you alone can change it all if you step into your dominance. But you've got to start making better choices. You've got to start learning this information of how to lead, how to become a dominant man, learning what your role really is in a relationship. That is your choice. Now, here's what you can do. You can finish this video and then put on some porn and masturbate because you haven't had sex with your woman for the last 3 weeks. Or you can get a lifetime membership by going to relationshipofyourdreams.com and start learning how to lead. Yeah, that's going to be scary. Yes, that's going to push you through some beliefs and discomfort that you don't want to deal with. But I'm going to tell you, masturbating for the rest of your life is going to be a lot more uncomfortable and unpleasant for you, right? Because that's a lifetime of discomfort versus, a few months of discomfort of pushing through these fears and discomfort until you get to the point where you are actually in a place of feeling comfortable leading your woman and her actually being receptive to your lead. So what do you want to do? Do you want to masturbate, or do you want to have a loving devotional relationship? If you want a loving devotional relationship where your woman is respecting you all the time, inside and outside of the bedroom, go to relationshipofyourdreams.com. On the main page, sign up for a lifetime membership, join the group, start with the course content, and just start to watch things change, right? If you take this seriously, you're going to experience massive changes in your love life. That's up to you. relationshipofyourdreams.com.